Welcome again, everyone. Thank you for sharing your stories and kind of where you are in the world right now. So I've just sort of a background. Our church has been completely on Zoom, and it was sort of the same thing. I'm singing while I'm playing. My husband is joining me. We're just this is a music studio that I'm in here that I teach out of. And I started doing some things with the choir. We had been working on an anthem right before the world shut down. And so I had everybody go in and record their parts in this particular way that I'll show you. And then I was able to play that during the service. And I thought, well, if I can do it for the choir, why don't I have the whole congregation do it so that we can start singing hymns again together? So I'm going to do, because I know some of you have to leave at 7:30, I had actually planned to just go through the slides of everything, and it's going to seem like a lot of information, but I am a full picture person. So I'll show you the slides of everything, all the steps, and then we'll go in through detail afterwards. So if you have any questions, share them in the chat. So here's the slides. All right, and I will send this one out. So the two programs that I am using are MuseScore and Soundtrap. So MuseScore is a free program. There's always options to upgrade, as we know. So for $49 a year, I did buy the upgraded version of MuseScore. And what that gets you is there's an online community where people can upload songs to it. So sometimes you can find the songs already written out for you. I will say that. It's your comfort level. You are able to send the person that did it a little bit of money or a little bit of credit if you feel comfortable otherwise taking it. But a lot of them are hymns that are right out of the hymnal. So it's just someone doing the work for you. But other than that, I was using it for my music studio, as I was saying. So I have a kid that comes to me and says, hey, I want to learn this video game song. And I'm like, great, I don't want to sit here and transcribe the whole thing. So I will find that there. So I did pay for that. But other than that, you have access to all the stuff I'm going to show you today. So that is actually downloaded onto your computer. I have it on my phone so we can find songs with students and things like that. So any device you can download that onto. And then the next program is Soundtrap. This was actually a program that was brought to me by one of the congregation members that plays trombone, and his band had done a full recording on Soundtrap with click tracks and all that, but I have gotten rid of the concept of click tracks for this. So that is actually online. It is free. I have, once again, I upgraded a little bit, so it's $9.99 a month. Comes out as though it's Spotify, just a random note. And that is, I did get that for some pitch modulation, just to make us sound a little extra good. We are a very small choir, so when there's very few of you, everyone needs to be in tune. The more people, it does hide its own self. So I did have that. So those are the two programs. And then each person that does this will have to sign up for a Soundtrap account as they go in. I just signed in with Facebook, so it is very easy. And then just to have everything in the same place, you will need headphones recording, and of course, you need a song. So what we do in MuseScore, we go and put the melody in. So when someone's recording, sometimes they just want to hear the melody. It can be very overwhelming to a non-musician, even sometimes to a musician, to record without the support of just the melody, of just the part they're singing. So for the choirs, I will do the tenor part, the alto part, the bass part, or however many parts there are in the song, so that they can feel supported and sing just to that. And then of course, so we'll export that separately to an MP3. Some of the higher versions of MuseScore and Soundtrap, you can do the WAV files, which is a higher quality. But just for Zooming, Zoom is gonna take away some of the quality anyway. So you can just go with the MP3s. Then you can go in and put in all your harmonies. just straight from the hymnal. I'm using the example of a hymn today, so, but you could, do any choir piece or Taizé piece, any piece you want to do. So you add all the harmonies in there, and then you'll export that as a separate file. And then you want to do an introduction. So this is where we get rid of the click tracks. Soundtrap will count you down when you go to record, but you can just have an introduction like you were in a church service, and this is what you're going to play, the last 4 bars. You can do a whole verse, whatever you're comfortable doing, and then you can export that to an MP3. So when I go to play the song, I will live play the piano part or organ if I was in the actual church. And then I will have the introduction still as part of my sound so I can line myself up. So I don't have to sit here and try and press play on the actual recording when the voices want to start and all that. So it's really nice to line everything up. And then if you have some extra time, you can go back and add some instruments, play around with it, get some desk cams in there and all that fun stuff. And you'll export that separately too. So you'll have all these different files that helps the editing at the end. So that's what we do in Soundtrap, in MuseScore. And then we're headed over to Soundtrap. So just to have everything in one place, when you open up Soundtrap, you're going to set up a new studio. Each project they call a studio. And don't forget to name it. So for the Christmas season, I'm going to be sending 6 different hymns around to all of my congregation members. They picked these hymns that they would like to sing this season, and they will be recording them starting next week. And I forgot to name half of them, so I had to go back and name them. So don't forget to name your studio. And then what we do is we import all those MP3s. I'll show you exactly kind of the plan that I've done with that. And then, line those all up how you want them. And then you'll record yourself. You are the role model. You will just take the effort of recording yourself in there, which we probably wanted to do anyway. Make sure it all lined up just right. And then you share with your congregation. So obviously you need to train them on how to do this and how to go in there and record it. I put together a YouTube video. I can share that as well. And or I guess it's an instructional video that I put up on YouTube that shows them exactly how to do it. So it's actually a record of me talking and showing them the screen of going in. But that part's not as complicated as it sounds. It's just adding a track and singing, and that's it. So let's see. Then the fun part, the editing. So this does take some time, but it sounds like it takes a lot less time than some of the projects that you guys have been doing. I'm trying to think, the most editing I've done is maybe like an hour, and that was when I took different parts. I had each person sing a melody. This was for the choir. Each person sing a melody and then sing their own part. And I layered it. So I had all the melodies start. I can show you this project later. And then I had the alto part come in, and then I had the tenor. So I just cut and paste everybody and had to line each part up. So it does take time, but I think it's going to take less time than some of the things that you're doing. And that's the full scope of it. So we're there. Okay. I'm looking at I was giving myself a moment to check the the chat here. Yes. So here's my tiny little condenser mic. It's so tiny. The church got this for me. I'm probably really loud right now that I'm next to it. It's the Samsung Go one. It was around $40. So that way it doesn't cut itself out. Like if I was going to when I show you Soundtrap, if I didn't have this microphone and I talked while Soundtrap was playing to you, I would talk over it and it would stop. So was that a lot of information all at once? Mm-hmm. Are we ready to dig in? All right, so the first thing I want to start with is MuseScore. So open up my MuseScore. So this is it's a music writing program, obviously, right? So I usually do it this way. We would come over here and we have a little plus button. You guys can see my mouse. And we're going to start a new song. So you can all thank me later. We're going to do Jesus Loves Me. And so no one is actually going to see this, so it's up to you how much of this you want to fill in here. I usually just give credit to the hymnal from a hymn, in case I was curious if it was a different version. All right, so slow me down if I go too fast here. So now we're going to pick our instrument. We just want grand staff because we're going to go straight from the hymnal here, but just to show you a few things that they do have in here. They have all of our chorals, SATB, all that fun stuff. You can always add other instruments later, which is what I'll do. They have some of the different quintets and quartets, the chamber music. For some reason, only guitars are allowed to solo. I'm not really sure why. But this to also show you it does have tablature if you have anyone that only reads tablature and you wanted to write something out for them, especially in the world of digital now, right? You can just take a moment and write in some guitar chords for somebody if they wanted to play something separate. There's your jazz and your, bands and percussion and other types of bands. And then it does have our 3 orchestras here. So just to kind of show you some of the different things they have, but we're going to use the grand staff. We'll go to next. Fortunately, we're in the key of C. I just take it straight from the hymnal. We can change the key signature later rather than trying to transpose it while I'm putting it in. It's just easier to input it by looking directly at it. So Jesus Loves Me is in 4/4, and there are no pickup measures, so we don't have to change any of that. It does not matter how many measures you put here because they even tell you can add and remove measures later, so that's not a problem. And there is a way to add the tempo later, but I kind of timed it out. Ooh, numbers locked. There we go. 100 is pretty good for Jesus Loves Me. Boom. And then it sets us up. So now comes the fun part. So the first thing that we're going to do is the melody. So we go over here to this little N that looks like a note. By the way, there are shortcuts to all of these on the keyboard. I often don't remember all the shortcuts. Like I would not remember that's an N and that a quarter note is 5. So I will use those. I will just come up and click those, but I will show you another shortcut in a second that makes this much easier. So your first note's a G. So you can just put it on the line and you can just do it that way. And I have a touch screen too. You could do it that way. Or my next note's a G and I'm just going to press the G on the keyboard. And then watch how much faster this goes. Oops, I know how Jesus Loves Me goes. Go to the half note, back to the quarter note. So I'm just pressing A, A, C, A, G, G. So it is pretty quick to put it in that way. I'm not going to do the whole song right now. You guys don't need to watch me do the whole song. We have any questions yet? I can't see the chat. No. Okay. So once I've done the whole melody, sometimes I'll forget this step and I'll have to go back and take everything else out. So do that. You're going to go to File and you're going to export it. And you can tell how many of these I'm going to export. We want to actually do it as an MP3. Jesus Loves Me. And you just press save. And it just takes a moment. I'll just show you how we're pausing for it to do its thing. And the PDF doesn't take any time to export, but yeah, so there it goes. So I won't actually go through the effort of exporting all the others, but so that's kind of how that works. So now you have your MP3 somewhere that you hopefully remember where you saved it. So now we're going to go back and add the other parts. And once again, I'll show you sort of one way you can do it and then the quicker way, I guess. So you just go and you have to add it underneath. So for example, here, if I wanted to add my alto part as a C, it will get rid of the melody line. But if I come over here, there are voice parts, voice 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is also where you can add different rhythms. So if I wanted to turn the alto part into a half note, now I can use I'm gonna do it. So I knew it would give me the highest C. So I don't actually want that C. It just picks the closest C. I'm just using the down arrow to do that. So now I can get some different rhythms here. And I can press the, I guess this next one is a C and then an F. And actually by having it, oh, now I gotta go back to quarter notes. As half notes, it won't sound so clunky because when you put it in Soundtrap, the piano part is going to sound a little clunky, which is why I don't actually use the piano part. I have that there for recording purposes, and then I will get rid of that and just export the voices and just have the voices play with me with my introduction. So I don't know, are there any questions on this? I can go down into, go back to voice 1, go down into some of the tenor part, I guess. You could be back to voice 1 because it's a different clef, so it doesn't matter. Oh, I forgot to switch over to quarter notes. Just using a lot of back keys. And then to add the bass part, I would have to do a voice 2 if I wanted it to be quick. Like any true bass part. And then these are actually the same notes. So you can see how you could get pretty quick with that if you've done it for a while. And then, to be honest, the next part is very similar. I didn't even think about this. I could show you this. So the next part starts where I'm just pressing Shift and highlighting, copying with my Control C, and then we can just Control V it and paste it right there. So you can do that all right in there. And you really only need one verse because you can just cut and paste into Soundtrap later. And that way you'd have more control over how loud you could make each verse. And then you go through the effort of exporting that one. So File, Export, and I probably should have labeled the other one Melody, and you can label something like this, Harmony. But I said I wasn't going to go through the effort of exporting it because it takes a little effort or a little time there. So that's kind of the basics in here. Since we're in MuseScore, we can look at some of the other stuff. Actually, the one that I always forget to show is if you highlight it all, and you can change this in Soundtrap as well too. But because not everybody, actually the song's not all that high, but not everybody likes to hit a high, C or D. Some of these hymns are nice and high. You can go to Tools and transpose it. I suggest transposing by the key. Very rarely will you go up unless you have a nice soprano. If you do the interval, that's where you get your double sharps and flats. So it's up to you. If you would like to try and challenge yourself to play double sharps and flats, feel free. But I'm just going to go down to A major. And ta-da, it's now all in A major, and it changes it for you. So it can lower it. And if I forget, let me make sure I show you how to do that in Soundtrap too. Let's see, what else? I've done a lot of this I've learned by, you can add chords above it too for your guitarist. I think it was Control K, yep. And then you could just add, make it, space bar. So it would actually play the chord too. So if you just felt like putting the melody in and writing the chords above it, you can definitely do that. I think that's an 8. Yeah. So you could go through it doesn't matter if it's capital or not, which means you'd have to write like A, M, or A minor, but So you can add your chords in there that way. And then you can add different instruments. That was what I was going to show you too, except you can't be on chords. To get out of chords, there we go. Under edit, I'm not sure why it's under edit. I would have thought it was in tools, but we're adding. You can add your instruments. And actually, just a couple days ago, MuseScore updated and has added all these other types of instruments. I haven't played around with to see what's in there. But you do remember that these are synthesized instruments. They're not digital. So some of them are maybe not the most pleasant sound. So you want to play around with them. I've used the flutes. I think I wanted a kind of a brassier sort of sound. So I used some saxophones for a jazz number. Under brass, they're actually very bright, except for the horns, not too bad. Usually my go-to is the strings. They're not so bad with the violin part. You can add it, and then you could put it up to the top if you wanted to. So it's more traditional. And then you just write that in the same way. Except now I'm in a key, different key. Where am I? Right, so you could have the violin part there. And then when you go to export it, you want to make sure you export it separately, any instruments, and you could actually do, you know, all the strings together, but maybe you might want to make the cello a little bit louder when it comes time to put it into the song on Soundtrap and sort of mixing it. So you'd have to do each one individually. And the way to do that is to go back to those instruments. And I like to say it's a little bit of a scary moment, but it's going to be okay. You remove everything else but the instrument that you're going to have the MP3 of. Once again, you go to File, Export. You export it, you can label it the violin part, and then actually go through the effort of exporting it. And when you're all done, you press backspace and everything will come back to you. So you haven't lost all your work. So, but yes, the first time I tried that, I was a little scared. I figured I just wouldn't save and it would work. But yeah, so any questions with in MuseScore? I know that's probably going to be one of the things where you watch the video later.
Text, Jenny.
Oh, how to add text. Oh, so as a free program, it's limited, but it is possible. It's hard to read. So you get on the note and you press Control L for lyric, or it's actually under the add up there. And I just undid it. But if you go up to add, you can add all these different texts. This is where you could add, you know, your tempo marking, going louder, quieter, all those different things. Any marks that you, rehearsal marks or anything that you wanted to. But this one I did memorize the shortcut key. So just to show you how hard it is to read. So every time I'm going to a new word or a new consonant, or what do you call it? New note, I'm pressing the space bar. Oh, I don't know why I capitalized that. So watch what it does to Bible. So I could go back. It won't let you do it in the moment, I think, and put a, I've done it before. Won't let me do it anymore. Oh, there. I think you can put the actual divide sign there, the little dash. But if you did that, otherwise, oops. Undo is my friend. Okay. I don't know what I've typed now. Bye. And then I wanted the dash. It will put, oh, I don't know why I put the dash over there, but it would have just put the dash there. So you have to, yeah, I'm do it right. No, I'm not. There we go. So it would just dash it for you. So you have to kind of go in and put the dash later. I have done a few things for my choir this way, and the number one complaint is it's hard to read. You can add other verses. So you can go on, you click on the same thing again and do another Control L, and it will put the second verse, which happens to be the same lyrics. Oops, I didn't capitalize Jesus. Yeah, we know how it goes. So you can add as many verses as you want to underneath it. Are there any other questions in MuseScore? No. Any other questions, Casey? No? Okay, so let me stop share that. There we go. Cool. So obviously I didn't show you, you can listen to all those as you go along. You could press go. So now we're going over to the fun part, sound trap. Let me try to share my sound. So here is my profile here. And you can tell, these are all my projects I've been working on, a lot of Christmas stuff. I like to have fun with it. So there's a lot of stuff in there. So the first thing you want to do is start a studio, but you don't want to start a collaboration because it will make you invite everybody you want to record right away. And we don't want to invite anybody. So we're going to enter the studio. Close down something there. Okay. So we're still looking at it. Let's play around. I have ads that pop up under whenever Chrome's open, so I close Chrome down. All right, so you can use these for podcasts. I have no need to explore the podcast side, but someday maybe I will. So we're here for music. We're going to music. So here's our studio. It's beautiful. So as I said, title it because I always forget to otherwise. All right, so now it's time to import all those MP3s that we made. And I actually pre-made them for you. So, let me show you why we just did that effort in MuseScore. So once we get here and we add the new track here over on the left, we notice that, hey, it does have a piano option. Here's my piano. So now I'm supposed to sit here and type in time while recording down here, my song. But I'm gonna want things down in this octave and I want them back over here. So you can see it's sort of awful, even with the touch screen. So I tried that once and gave up pretty quickly and found that if I scrolled down, I'm just gonna delete that track. When I went to add a track, I had this beautiful thing called an import file. And I thought, let me try to do it in MuseScore and just import it right in. So I did. So all the other ones work that way too. Guitar, bass, all that, the drums, synthesizer, they all work that way, except for microphones. We will be using the microphone. So that was why we went through the effort of doing that. So now I'm gonna just import the melody only. So I'm just importing everything. Even if you don't know anything about digital, this is my little cursor here I'm moving over. You can tell here at the end, it's just a bunch of dots. That's the extra space that we didn't take, the extra measures. You can just scrunch it down later in here, or you could have taken them out in MuseScore. So I'm just gonna go through now. I'm gonna add my harmonies. And we're gonna add that introduction. Wherever it went. To be honest, Jesus Loves Me is short enough. You could have just used an extra verse as your introduction, but I had gone through the effort of creating the last 4 bars in MuseScore. I had this little ad that popped up. Okay, that was in my way. So here we are, and I'm actually going to minimize my zoom here, so now I can't see anything, but just so I can see the screen. So over down here in the right is your zoom in and zoom out. So we want to zoom so that we can see all of it together. So it doesn't change the beats at all. It's just making it go on out. I use zoom in and zoom out quite frequently. So we're just going to adjust the end. I'm just clicking and pulling it over. I'll just use this line right here. That looks about right. as we zoom in, we'll be able to tell later, just to get rid of that. Oh, actually, maybe it was there. You can always pull it back out if you went too far. I do have a touch screen, so I apologize. I'm going to zoom in that way. It's much easier for me. So now as you zoom in, you can see that that was not quite where that was. So I'm not going to get too precise during this particular time because you do not need me to take that time. So I've moved it back to the beginning, and I'm going to mute these two parts. That's that little speaker there with the X, and now it is ghosted, so you can't tell, or you won't be able to hear those. And so we are going to just hear the intro. So yeah, it's probably a little, I was counting out maybe where they want to come in, maybe around there. So then I'm going to put that there so I can line up the beginning of my melody and my full harmony. And then I can play it again to see if that worked out. And I'll unmute them. So if I hear just the melody. No, just we don't need to listen to the whole the verse there, but just so you can hear that it's sort of clunky, doom, doom, doom. But what, as I was saying, I will actually mute them when I go to export out the file, and then I will live play that. If you were doing a pre-recorded service, you can either live record it in your recording, or live play it in your recording, or you could you just put more instruments in and kind of hide the sort of clunkiness of the piano. So now that I can see this a little bit better, I'm probably guessing that's about the end. And then I want to make sure they line up. And I would actually have gone through the effort of listening to this to make sure they line up. All right, so that's one verse, but Jesus loves me. That's two verses. So if I right click on the melody, I can copy it and then make sure I'm on the right spot. And I usually just use Control-V. You can just paste it down. So you can paste as many verses as you wanted through there. And then I'll just do the same to the harmonies there. And I don't think I got the lineup just that great, but just for the sake of demonstrations, yeah, you can kind of zoom in and put your little purple, and you can see that it just doesn't quite, and you can listen to it too, obviously, but that's how you'll line up the voices later too. And then if for some reason you really can't get that one person to line up their voice just right in the introduction, you can use one of these edit things here, which is a nice fade in. And you can control how much they're going to fade in, you know, till they start to actually get in the right part. So you can definitely use that. Oh, now it's not going to undo what I just did. That's all good. Yeah, there it goes. Undo is usually your friend. So yeah, so that's the basics. Nope, I'm going to make it smaller so we can see it all. Are there any questions on that part yet? See the chat's going, but I can't see the chat.
I'm just filling in text versions for people who may not hear you clearly, or for the recording.
Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. So that's the basics, as I was saying. So now it's time to record yourself singing. Yeah. Actually, let me do this first. Okay. So you're gonna add the track. So this is what you're gonna show your congregation how to do. They don't need to bother with anything else except coming in and adding a track. And we're gonna add the voice and microphones. So the very first time you do this, and you can't undo it, so once you've done it, you've done it, is it calibrates your microphone So it just says sing as loud as you can, and you do, and then it knows your limit. Volume doesn't matter because everyone's microphones are different, as we all know. So you can turn people down. You can, if someone is just so quiet, I've had 3 or 4 of the same person, you can duplicate their tracks so that you can hear that one a little bit louder. And this is where you're going to want to use those headphones. Now, Zoom doesn't like it when you keep changing its input output for sound. So I'm going to record just a little bit, and you'll excuse my voice after a day of teaching, of the Jesus Loves Me, so you can hear what it sounds like when one person did not put in your headphones to, it gets a little bit of background noise. So as I said, this will count you down, but you don't have to worry about it because we have our introduction. This is when we get rid of the click track. So on and so forth. We don't have to do the whole thing. Yeah, so that's the basic recording. So let's listen to what it sounds like. I'll take off my little R so that no one can record over me, including myself. I didn't really start singing to hear. If I mute everything else, actually I could have just pressed this track, so it'll just do that one track. You'll hear the clunkiness of the piano. So that is why we wear headphones. I had ambitions of doing a particular song a cappella, and one person, their headphones still picked up. They just, I don't know. It must not have been very good headphones. So I could not do the a cappella. I had to add in some piano parts and different things to cover that up. And just make sure you rename it to yourself so that you'll know. So because this is a hymn, I do encourage my congregation to sing whatever they would normally sing. Some people like to sing an alto part or, you know, get in a groove there with the bass line. So you can have them sing that if they wanted to. If they need you to just make that as a special line so that they can sing along, they could request that from you. I didn't show that. So for those that want to hear just the melody, you would just, you know, mute the harmony while you are recording that. Let's see what else. Oh, so if you say you got to the second verse and you messed up, pretend I recorded this whole thing, and you messed up the lyrics, you didn't quite get it right, you can start recording right there. You don't have to re-record from the beginning. That was amazing when I showed my choir that. So there was one song I did that I just couldn't get this one particular harmony right in that one verse. Every other verse I got it, but not that one. So I would just go to, it's easier to start at the beginning of the verse. I've clicked back on my R, so it'll record that one. It will count you down to it. You know, there's different words. And it will say, well, it won't segregate it this much, but it will sort of cut it out. And then it would have continued on there if you didn't finish recording the whole verse again. I think that was, oh, I was going to show you how to, so I showed you the fade in. You could fade it out. So not everyone is going to put their T in the right place on the word heart. So you can fade out those that maybe it didn't quite line up, or you can embrace the fact that it doesn't quite line up. But so you can fade somebody out. Here's our volume too, by the way. So this is a little tricky. It doesn't look like it would be, but it is. This is a nice dial. You're going to ignore the fact that it's a dial. Volume is up. You might have to go back and try again and keep pushing it up. And then down is the other way. You got to hold it and click it and pull it down. Yeah, that's not real user there. And I haven't played with any of the automatic settings yet. So you can fade in and out. I guess we could hear what a fade out sounds like. Let's actually add some harmony here. It's kind of hard to hear in that situation, but it's just getting quieter and quieter. Yeah, and I've had some fun playing around with it. I did actually do a violin all the way through. I'll show you how I can add some. Oh, that's not what I'm gonna. The violin part. And I was thinking I would just add the violin to the very last verse. So you can just build it up. I'm gonna put it actually under the violin part though. Not know why it went up there. There it goes. So you could add that. I think I just got rid of my other things. So you can kind of hear that, and you know, you might just want to turn that down and just have it as a nice background noise. Yeah, I think, and then obviously you want to save it. It takes a little while to save. Are there any questions in the chat yet?
We've got a couple of questions. I'm putting in typing pieces. Everyone does need to have, all of your singers need to have a Soundtrap account, but it's an easy free sign up.
Yes.
And there'll be videos to help walk them through it. And for headphones, I'd recommend a single earpiece so you've got ambient sound of your own voice.
Yes.
And something that's close to the mouth. Earbuds aren't great, and wireless is a huge problem.
Oh, yes. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. So I tried once with wireless. I thought I'd be all fancy. So yeah, the delay is just so much, and it's not like a nice even delay that you could then just slide that vocal part over. It just didn't work. So I gave up on that. I splurged and got myself some Beats yesterday, but you do have to make sure Beats with what are they, the Bose Beats. It's hard to find noise canceling. I wanted noise canceling. I don't need the earbud, but a lot of my choir members prefer just the one earbud in. I wanted noise canceling, and you cannot really get noise canceling that isn't wireless. So the Beats were my only option at Best Buy is where I tried to do that yesterday. Any other questions coming in? I was going to show some of the other studios that I've worked on. Question for me.
What's a round trip recording? It's in one of the questions.
Round trip recording. No, did I say that?
Diana? No.
I don't know that one.
I'll figure it out later.
Okay. So when I'm all done with this, I got to show you how to transpose too. But yeah, when I'm all done and I've lined everybody up and everybody sounds as good as they're going to get, right? We're forgiving at our churches. You can mute the two parts that you don't want, or if you are going to keep them in there, that's fine too. And then you will, once again, export this to the MP3. Even with so there are different versions of Soundtrap paid version. I bought the minimal, so you can get a way more expensive one, and you'll be able to export to the waves, and then it will. Oh, I've got to save the project first. What I just did, probably because I muted everybody. Sometimes it will not do it right away because it says it's mixing it. Yeah, it's mixing it on the servers. I have no idea what that. I guess it's doing that. So in the meantime, I will show you how to, but that's how I get it out. So say you were recording and you went, oh, that's a really high note. I don't know what I was thinking. You can go to edit and change the pitch. Bring it down. These are in half steps, right? So you maybe bring it down 3 half steps. The problem with doing, I guess the limitation, I like having the different verses because it's going to take a while to change it. so that, say, for example, I wanted to make a nice crescendo on the last verse, I could duplicate my track for the harmony, get rid of this first one, and now I've got double volume here. And I've done that with voices where I've taken that one particular section and doubled the voices just in that one section. So now this one is auto-tuned down, but you do have to then auto-tune, not auto-tune, don't auto-tune it, change the pitch down another third. So I'm not gonna do all of them, but you would go through and do that, and then it'll bring it down the 3 half steps. I tried last night. I was like, oh, I wonder what happens if you change the pitch on a voice. No, it's not good. It's not good. It is a horrible sound. It is not meant to change the pitch of the voices. So you have to make sure you change everything before you go in. So now, everything here, you can hear how it's down a little bit. Person's up here. I should torture you with that. Yeah, so then when it's all done and saved, you would export it. It's gonna want me to mix it again. So I don't actually want to save anything I've done the last time, so it's not saved. Let me take you into, I'm sure there's tons of other things that you can play around with in there too, but let me take you to some of the projects that I've done. Let's see. This is the first one that we did. I didn't warn my choir that I was going to share some of our stuff. With the actual, we don't need to hear this, with everybody going in and recording. And it just wound up being redundant. But you can see this is where I actually went in and had to redo my recording. Yeah, so that was sort of a simple project that we did. I don't know what I did to it, so I'm gonna not save that. I'm having fun with some of the Christmas music. What's the most instruments? The Come O Come Emmanuel's got like the extra cello in there. I guess we can listen to me sing too. Having fun with that. I haven't given that one to anyone yet for them to record, but I will have that one in there. I don't usually like to put too many of the instrument parts in until afterwards because it does confuse people. But so this is sort of the biggest editing projects I've been doing, and we're gonna do that. This one is for this Sunday in church. First of all, I wrote the song, so that was step one. This is a big project. And then step two, up here, I don't really feel like muting every single person, but I had all the vocal parts. And I said, everybody go through and record just the melody. Excuse me while I mute everybody. And then record a harmony part. And if you're soprano, the melody is just fine. You can see everybody recorded a lot of stuff. This is the one I wanted to do a cappella, and then I had to add a drone in there to hide something. So I did some cues just by talking using that same microphone. Listen the first time. Listen to just that part. And then him in. 2, ready, go. Two, three, ah. And then I tell everybody where to go, where to end and put their T. Of course, not everybody listens, but the idea was there. So I don't do that for the congregation because I don't want them to feel that it has to be perfection, because it doesn't. So let's see if now I gotta unmute everybody else. And then what I did was I copied everybody's melody, lined them up and copied them. What is that, 7 times? Oh, I didn't even look at the number that I did. I just did melody twice. Then we added some altos. Then we added the tenor. Then I added the bass. And with everybody's parts, we sang it 3 times through. So this will be a Taze piece right before prayers. This is I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. And I let it play all the way through so you can kind of see how I faded it out. I'm not completely in love with the fade out yet, so I'll probably edit it a little bit more. But this here.
Something.
Oh yeah, do you have a question? Yeah.
I just want to jump in and say this was amazing to record. I mean, we just recorded the melody one time and I recorded the alto part one time. But when I recorded the alto part, I turned on, I think Dave and Glenn had already done theirs. And I was singing with other people in parts for the first time of the pandemic. And it was just so wonderful.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yes, I forgot about that part, that when you're not the first one in there to record, you do get to sing with other people. Yeah, that is the whole point of this whole thing, is to get that feeling. And then, you know, for the hymns, people know that their voice is in there, even though they're singing at home. They know that, you know, that their voice has made it in there and they're singing and they're part of something. So, yeah. So that was, I guess actually my biggest project was the one that was the full choir piece that we did way back in the beginning, the Child of God, that had like French horns and all that stuff in there. But yeah. So are there any other questions? I'm probably stop share this and be able to see your faces. Yes, Juliet.
So one of the things we're trying to do is allow people to sing live from their home. So if I prepare something like this, then can they go to so I prepare the written music, input it into Soundtrap. Can then they go to Soundtrap and record if they know what they're doing, and then play it back and sing along with it live from home during church?
Yes.
So that would be, so Soundtrap would be on their computer.
Yeah, so
for that purposes of that.
yeah, so the trick to Zoom is to have everything on one part, right? So as long as everything's on my side of the screen, it will all come across at the same time. So as you know, if I have the sound trap here, if they're trying to sing along while it's on the computer, they will need a condenser mic or whatever the word is. I always pick the wrong word. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. To be honest, I usually play it through my phone. My phone has a better sound quality than it going through the laptop we found.
Oh, mine doesn't.
Yeah. So, because I'll get on early, actually with Megan and say, hey, can we just do a sound, if I'm doing something weird and different that I haven't done yet, can we just get a sound check? And so we'll go through, and it usually winds up being on my phone. And I will put it up on the, you know, the right by the speaker. And then, or I guess the microphone's over there. So that's that speaker. And then I will play, I will do some live play with my piano too, to try and see. I've actually had fun doing my own backups. So I'll sing some alto and record it. Or I have some violins sometimes that'll play along with me, which is super nice of them. Just all by putting it into, actually you wouldn't, if you're not recording a voice, you could do it just straight from MuseScore, export the MP3 and just play the MP3. I usually just email it to myself and then play it from my phone.
I find a WAV file won't email. So
yeah, you can put it on a Google Drive and just have it on your Google Drive. I'm running out of room on my Google Drive because of things like that, but yeah, you could.
But you can export it as an MP3.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and you know, Zoom has its limitations of whatever device the person's listening onto, that's what you're going to hear. So I had done, I was part of an organ concert series back in, I was able to play live in January, but the rest of the organists did have to live Facebook it. And we got a lot of, hey, you know, the sound's awful. Well, it's your speaker. You know, like other people were like, well, I'm listening to this on Bluetooth speakers. And it sounds amazing, you know, because everyone chats while they're on Facebook. And, you know, the organist isn't saying this, but I'm sitting here monitoring that. And yeah, it really, so tip, if you want to listen to a concert, I will either put it on my TV or and hook my laptop into it, or you use some Bluetooth speakers and you get a nice little concert sound instead.
So what program plays the sound back?
It's an MP3. So whatever your device.
I've just had a battle royal over that, because I got Windows 10 this year, and I exported, as I said, maybe I didn't tell you this. I exported a file to the singer. She sang along with it. That was fine. A couple of weeks later, I did that. She couldn't play it. Her cousin got it to play on a Mac. And what I found was that this had converted into an LAN. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a video player. And I had to download the sound fonts for this. It didn't do that for me. And now I think I've solved the problem, but I don't want to be caught out again.
Yeah, I usually just stick to MP3 because most things will read the MP3 or
but when I make an MP3, oh, all right. Yeah. Maybe I should just do it as an MP3, but it said to do it as it won't export on AOL unless it's a MIDI, or Finale doesn't give me the option. I haven't done this with MuseScore. I do use MuseScore in case I need to do something on a laptop, because it's so much less expensive, like $0.
Yes. So I, way back in the day, had the Finale Allegro, and I lost the passcode when I got a new computer, and I was like, well, there goes hundreds of dollars. And they wouldn't give me a new passcode, like the numbers to register it. So I was like, so then I discovered MuseScore. So I haven't looked at Finale in a while.
I've been emailing my old Finale files to my new computer.
My computer.
I haven't lost anything.
I'll hope. Yeah, but yeah, Finale was a great program. Yeah, it still is. I don't have access to it anymore.
Because I don't think there's anybody else at the church who has that kind of technical knowledge to be able to help me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just, yeah. Does anyone else know?
About, well, I used my original Windows computers. I was using Audacity. It was a free program, and then I think I had to. I think they did have a convert to MP3 file.
Mhm.
Well, that's all we do at church. I do everything. Now I was recording it on Audacity. Now I record it on the Mac on GarageBand because I have an interface for my keyboard. But I send the pastor MP3 files because we can never manage with waves. So we just send that, and he puts them right into the PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah.
He ports the MP3. But like I said, Pastor Cindy records, so he has like a double MP3 file because he takes an audio piano or organ file and a vocal file and makes a new MP3 file of the one she sings. But
Up until the pandemic, I never used the playback on Finale to do anything other than check my work.
yeah, oh, sure.
We all have had a huge learning curve in this. Yes. Yeah.
So one thing, it sounds to me, Jen, one thing that you did come up with was it's much better to do this in an audio version than fooling around with video.
I have a friend that has tried playing around with the video, and she tells me about how long it takes her to edit. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Well,
One thing I have done is I have put together like a Google Slides, just like a PowerPoint presentation. My husband and I sing a song that's about a girl's life that goes through her life. So we did it where we actually had like little pictures of people in the background, and then I just play the file over top of it. I could embed it too. When we did the song Child of God, our intention was to sing to the congregation because we were learning it during in person.
Right.
Before the world shut down, and we were supposed to sing to the church and say, hey, you guys are all children of God.
Right.
It's great. So we had pictures of the congregation members on a
Right.
Google Slides going as we sang. So that's about as far as I've gone with video. I guess if you wanted more of a video, and you wanted it simple, you could just take pictures of all your, but it's not, I know it's not the same, but the things that you see, online with the videos that takes some very expensive equipment, and it takes lots and lots and lots of time. And we're doing this weekly, so.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I say. I like your idea of just doing the audio. But so each person gets an account.
Yeah, you can just go to soundtrap.com right now and just get one for free. Yeah.
Right, and then each person has to have their own microphone, and they listen. They record with an audio track that's there.
Yeah. And so, my laptop is usually what I record with. I don't always pull out this cool microphone here. I just use the laptop microphone that's built in on the laptop. You can record on your phone. You can really record whatever device has a built-in microphone. You can just record on.
But so then, do you record it to the? Oh, I see. You put the soundtrap in your phone. Like if somebody has an iPhone, they just record it to that.
Yeah, because it's an online it's in the browser. So you have to go to an online browser.
Right.
MuseScore is a program you have to download.
Yeah.
But Soundtrap is just an online. So, I could just be like, oh, I feel like listening to that song that we did. So I could just pull it straight up a Soundtrap and do it.
But in other words, the point is they have to listen to the audio track on set, and they sing with it.
Yep, same time, same device. I get you.
Right, they can listen and sing at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I misunderstood at first. Yeah.
No,
So,
it's fine. It's fine.
yeah.
If you watch the online, like 100 cellos playing something, you'll see them go.
Oh, I heard that,
Then there's a certain number of beats while they're listening to somebody count. Because what somebody does is the leader says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they clap 1, 2, 3, and then they hear the rest of the numbers, and then they come in. I've done a Zoom choir as a singer.
And I wanted to get rid of that. For somebody that's not a full-time musician, that's really hard to do. And even for musicians, sometimes to get the click track just right. So they'll usually have that click going on in their ear. You can always see their little headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the online ones, that's just to make sure everybody knows everybody else is together.
Yeah. Yeah. And this
That's
gets rid of that by just having the introduction. You're doing a hymn. So, and I mean, if you have someone in your congregation that would like to play, you know, an actual violin, you could record it through that through the microphone and do it that way. You wouldn't have to go to MuseScore and use that violin. But if you wanted to get a full file together all at once, you could do that. Or you could, you know, just send them it with as an MP3 and be their backups so they can live play it. Yeah. So.
Okay.
I know. I'm looking and see. So I'm going to get in touch. This is to Kara's question. I'm going to get in touch with Cindy. I've met her once. So she was, I can't remember her last name right now. She set this up, and I'm going to make sure that she gets everything out to you. I could put in my, I think I can. Why is it to say I can only talk to Casey? Okay, there we go. My email that you can, I just got it. So let's see if I do it right. Presbyterian. Is it, where's Megan? Is it Clinton Presbyterian or Presbyterian Clinton?
It's presbyterianclinton.org.
Thank you. Just got it. So it's music@presbyterianclinton.org. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, and so we can share the resources. And as I said, this video will be on Cindy's YouTube, and she said she would send the link somehow. But yeah, we're going to make sure that everybody gets the resources, and especially for those that couldn't come tonight too. And I can share my PowerPoint slide, the Google. And the other thing I will share with you, I didn't pull it up yet. It's 10 minutes long, so I'm not going to take the time to watch it now, but I can maybe show you 5 seconds of it.
Jen, my guess is that Cindy is going to put the link to the video into the Presbytery newsletters and then probably also post it on the Presbytery websites.
Yes, she said that, and then she said that she would put it on her personal YouTube.
Ooh, fancy.
I know, because I said that I don't have one of those. Let's see.
Yes.
I hate how you have to open everything up and then get back to the. Have I tried actually? I think I did the piano, and then I played the violin. I think I haven't had anyone else record yet. No one in my congregation is brave enough yet. I should play around with some of my own. So this was, hopefully, did that work? So I guess it's a 9-minute video.
Hi there. I'm so glad that you want to be part of our collaboration of Christmas carols for the holiday season. I just wanted to put together a little video on how exactly to do that. So the first thing that you'll receive from me is an email that will have links to our Soundtrap studios. Each song does have.
I'll stop it there, but I'll send that video out too. That was kind of where I went through to my congregation members and I showed them exactly how to go through. And I played it once after church. We have a big special combined service this week, or so it's the our congregation is probably 50-50 Cameroonian. So we have Cameroonian Thanksgiving service. So I probably won't use this week to do it, but the weeks after I will show that video either before or after, kind of mix it up. And then I've emailed it out to everyone in the congregation and I can share that one with you too. So it's just something that you can share with your congregation that goes through, get your headphones in, you know, open up this link and all that. So.
And even a non-musician like the husband was able to hop into the Soundtrap thing and do his part.
Oh, good.
Fairly simply.
All right. Great.
Yeah,
So
I've experimented on some people already.
So Casey, you're using the ideal microphone for recording this. You've got one earpiece and a microphone.
Yeah, because it's close to the mouth, so you get a pretty clear connection without other things around it, and you can
Right.
hear the sound, but it won't pick up the sound, and you can hear your own voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, his office hooked him up with that. They were going.
We were ready for COVID before COVID was ready.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're in the South Seas. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, look at that. So,
Yeah. Are there any? I don't want to take too much
no, you
of your evening. Yeah, I know that I threw a lot of information at you, and it's gonna snow tomorrow. So although some of you up north may have already gotten the snow. We're preparing for it down here. Yeah, well, yeah, if there's no more questions, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you coming out to hear me talk about my idea and to be able to share it with people.
Thank you for putting this whole thing together. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, and nice to see people from around the Presbytery. That's
Yeah, nice.
Northern Presbytery and our local Boston Presbytery. We don't see each other.
That's true. Yeah.
So, it's nice to see people. So it's great. Thank you again, Jen, and thank you, Casey, for the non-musical husband. There you go. Okay. All right. Bye. Thank you.
everyone.
Bye. Good night. Bye. Bye.